Cypress Fairbanks Independent School District presents the Primary Practices On-Demand Video Collection, which highlights powerful classroom management strategies for primary educators. The first series of videos, Refining the Foundation, focuses on a fundamental framework for planning, teaching, and reinforcing routines and procedures. Like a treasure map, we can use this framework to chart and navigate our journey to a well-run classroom. Just remember to be like a pirate and say, "Arr." The letters AERRR represent the components of effective teaching, especially when it comes to behavior expectations in the classroom. It is said that if we can predict it, then we can prevent it. Therefore, the first component in our framework, represented by the crystal ball icon, is anticipate. Though we don't anticipate through sorcery or magic, there are certain truths about the brain and its development that we can apply when planning our classroom expectations to ensure that we best prepare for our students' success. This means if we know about our students' needs and how they develop and respond, we can best establish and maintain brain-based mindsets. A great place to start is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a motivational theory in psychology, often depicted as 5 levels within a pyramid, where the needs lower down in the hierarchy must be satisfied before attending to the needs higher up. Consider a time when you didn't sleep well the night before. Consider a time when you were concerned for your safety. Or consider a time that you felt like you just didn't belong. How would you describe your behavior in moments like these? Were you motivated? Did you feel cooperative? How about calm or relaxed? When preparing for behavior management, it's important to consider what this means for our students who also lack adequate sleep, feel scared or worried, and feel isolated from others at times. Just like us, when our students' basic or psychological needs are not met, meeting the demands of everyday tasks is difficult and often results in behavioral challenges. It's easy to misperceive the real reason behind a student's behavior. We often interpret it as intentional when in reality, there's likely an unmet need just below the surface, including those in Maslow's hierarchy. It's important to understand that typical childhood development is also a factor, and there are multiple developmental ages that influence a child's functioning. We can remember the different developmental ages by the acronym SPICE. S, or one's social age, deals with language communication and a general understanding of how to interact with others. P, for physical age, pertains to one's gross and fine motor skills, such as climbing and using utensils. I, for one's intellectual age, includes cognitive functioning and abilities, while C, for cultural age, refers to one's identity through beliefs and values. Finally, E, for emotional age, encompasses understanding and regulation of emotional states of oneself and of others. No one of these ages is likely equivalent within one child, and in some cases can be even vastly different from each other. It is easy to forget about this, and oftentimes we may unintentionally place unrealistic and developmentally inappropriate expectations on our students. Because of the phenomenon known as the curse of knowledge, we forget that students need explicit instruction and support in these areas of development, especially when it comes to emotions. Research tells us that we're all born hardwired for 6 basic emotions. They are sadness, joy, disgust, anger, surprise, and fear. Thanks to Eric Jensen, we can think of these emotional responses like tapping out a few notes on the center keys of the keyboard. Other emotions like empathy, optimism, patience, and cooperation are not hardwired and therefore need to be explicitly taught, much like the intentional practice and experience it takes to play with both hands across the entire keyboard. With our primary learners especially, we need to remember that students play the keys that they know and the ones that they know well. Getting to those outer keys takes time, planned teaching, and regulated responses from adults. Now that we have some developmental research to help us anticipate student needs, our last strategy, CHAMPS, guides us in anticipating what students will need to know before an activity or transition to be successful. C stands for conversation. Ask yourself, how will students engage with each other during the activity? H is for help. What's the process for seeking assistance or support? A is for activity. What type of learning structure or format is it? Will it be whole group, small groups, or partners? Maybe it's individual. M is for movement. Are learners permitted to move about the classroom? If so, what will this look and sound like? P is for participation. Which behaviors demonstrate active learning? This means we want to state observable behaviors that students know they need to engage in to be successful. And then finally, success. Are students successful with their behavior for this task? Consider how you'll praise appropriate behavior and correct inappropriate behavior. Remember, the more we are in tune with the development and needs of our students, we can best anticipate and chart the course for successful classroom management. Join us for the following video where we jump into the next components in R. We encourage you to implement the strategies from this video to enhance your classroom management. Thank you for taking the time to view our professional development on demand.